Hope everybody's doing well. I'm doing well. Oh, hold up before I get started. I think I'm gonna share it out a couple times. Hold up. I'm back. Peace, peace. Well, want to get into it today about something that's might sound probably strange to a lot of people, but it's basically we are living in a post uh, apocalyptic slash like cataclysmic type world, and we basically have a mindset. Our mindsets is based on that. You know what I mean? Meaning we living in a reality that's how can I say this? Basically, everything was destroyed. You know, the world was basically was in ruins, and this is a thing that's it's the truth, and it's been written out of history. And being as though it's written out of history, this is why it was made. You know, it was easy for them to convince us that we have become advanced after so many generations or years or hundreds or whatever, and as opposed to the reality is that man or mankind has digressed, as opposed to progressing. But being as though these certain events that really happened haven't been written into history, we don't know how to take stuff, and nor do we have like the true. We just don't have the good common sense to reason the realities of like when you. That's why one of my hobbies is looking at these old world structures, because I've gotten into that, and just seeing the architecture. The architecture is the main thing. It's much older than what we're being told. Most of these buildings, these reservoirs, these most of these football fields, baseball fields are old reservoirs, especially in the big cities like where I live. But make a long story short, a lot of these, most of these buildings and these structures they were found. They were found when these cities got repopulated, and they were systematically repopulated over time. You know, after they were dug back out, repairs were made, and they brought people back into these places. So the story that they're giving you in mainstream history is not the true story. It's not the true story of nowhere, anywhere on this earth. It's not just here in so-called America, or what they call Africa, Europe. Europe is Africa anyway. Whatever. Anywhere you go, Asia, wherever. All of these places have existed uh, for a long time. For a long time prior to Main Street, what Main Street history is saying, prehistory, basically. And if you don't know about this, or if you don't have no inkling of this in your mind, you're easily gonna get deceived about a lot of different things. You know what I'm saying? And the whole thing is with this consciousness movement, meaning it's not like the consciousness movement, meaning the people are becoming aware of the falsehood of the history and things of that nature. Then you should just start you should start seeing things for what it truly is. In a way, I kind of really don't know where to start, but I would have to say the aspect of the lands being repopulated with different peoples, and of course, like now we hear a lot of people coming out denying what has been put on them all of their lives. Like especially with dealing with melanated people in America. And I say especially, but it's not just us. It's other groups, all over the world. Most of the people that are referred to as Afro something, whether you're Afro-Brazilian, you're Afro-Cuban, and all this stuff, these is Brazilians. These are Cubans. You know what I'm saying? These people existed before the lands got repopulated with other people, and then they got pushed to the back. And then by history being rewritten without these happenings like earthquakes, mud floods, water floods, all stuff not being written into history, you just never going. It's kind of hard to figure out. But the only thing you really got to do is study, and also have enough. You got to be at least what's the word? Curious. You have to be curious enough to look into something that's not mainstream. And most people don't want to do that, but the special people, they're going to do it. They're going to at least look into it. All of the lands have went through the same things. You know what I'm saying? Whether it be switching to the names of places, the name of places here given to names of places, given to being renamed. Basically, all these places being renamed, and and the truth of the matter is, the people that repopulated these lands absorbed the culture, and along with the culture came the titles, the family names, and all these different things. And this is just the truth. It's just like things in nature. You know how science talks about nature. It's no problem with people. Let's say I'm Irish, right? And yeah, I am. I do have Irish lineage, right? And then you have another group of people that have recently inhabited Irish, and they say they're Irish. Okay, they Irish. They Irish too. But they just, you got people that come that are pre certain things happening, and you got people that are post certain things happening, and you just got to deal with it like that. But that doesn't make you are what you are, okay? But what I'm just saying is for the world to get back in alignment with itself, meaning the people being in alignment with everything else in creation, we have to acknowledge each other. You know what I'm saying? We have to acknowledge each other. And that's never going to happen if we keep going back and forth with the nonsense of this strife, like between religious and political ideologies, not knowing the truth, because not by you not knowing the truth, this is what keeps it. This is what keeps the fiasco going on. If you educate yourself, you will find that you might not have a reason to be mad at the people that you have historically been mad at, just to keep it basic. If you educate yourself, if you learn the truth, then you may find that you ain't got no reason to be mad, and that it'll be easier for you to get back into in alignment with creation. You know what I'm saying? And if you really understand, overstand what these religions is are based on and supposed to be based on, all of this stuff is supposed to bring the people in alignment. In reality, it's not supposed to. You're not supposed to go into Islam, and Islam causes you to be out of alignment with everybody else in creation that's respecting themselves, respecting the nature, respecting, well, the animals is nature. I don't gotta add animals. Respecting nature, just being loving and respecting and revering, what's around you, right? The religion puts you in alignment with that. No matter if it's Buddhism, Christianity, Bible study, whatever, the case may be. You got multiple different religions. These religions are supposed to put you in alignment with everything else and everyone else, right? If what you learning and they calling it religion or they calling it whatever, if it's taking you out of that, then it's something faulty and there's something wrong with it. You know what I'm saying? Because the way of the Creator is not the way of chaos. It's not the way of conflict. Because if you notice in in nature, there is no chaos. If man ain't messing with it, it ain't no chaos, and it's never no chaos. You see what I'm saying? So you ain't gotta follow nothing that causes you to have to kill or imprison or oppress anybody based on beliefs. It's unnatural, because everybody that's real, everybody that's a natural one, a natural man, a natural woman, we naturally resonate with the Most High Creator. So all of that foolishness and interpretation, fake interpretations and false interpretations of what the Most High Creator said and didn't say, and do's and don'ts and all that stuff. Hey, you're going to have to really, really, really get into using your intuition and building up. And by knowing and by learning, you develop stronger discernment, and you'll be able to. You can judge. You can judge between the issues. You ain't gotta go and ask nobody no question, because you'll be in the know. You'll be able to. You'll know what's right and what's wrong. You'll understand. What you should be doing and what you shouldn't be doing. You know what I'm saying? But if you don't know nothing and you're just walking around out here, and you just waiting, every issue that pops up, let's say in your everyday life, if you're waiting for somebody else to tell you how to react to it, you're gonna have a problem. You're gonna have a problem. And it ain't. And if you just because you got a job and you got a car and you got whatever you think, all of these niceties of so-called life here, that don't mean that you're not lost. You know what I'm saying? It just don't mean that. So the best way to combat that is to get educated, and you're gonna have to self-educate yourself. I say it again. You know what I'm saying? But not knowing that everything's been flipped and been changed, that's a problem. You know what I mean? I advise people, I push people towards in the direction of certain people that's just way ahead of me as so far as talking about these kind of things, because this is what has made me aware. It's got me up. You know what I mean? You go on YouTube, you can watch John Levy. John Levy. That's the name of the channel. You can watch another channel called Mind Unveiled, and these is people that put in a lot of work on what I'm talking about. Now, I'm not saying that I agree with everything they say on there, but they it's a lot of learning, it's a lot of research, a lot of boots on the ground work with this particular, and it's not a theory, this is just reality. You know what I mean? And in order for you to understand, let's say the religious, hey, that's what they got us immersed in. So you gonna have to, if you don't know true history, you're never gonna understand these religions, because you'll always be able to be fed something that's false and that's fake. So the point I'm trying to make is getting into that history, the aspect of history dealing with these cataclysms, is directly involved with the mindset of the people now. What's going on now? Because the world order of things that we living in is a product of what happened. So much so that the people don't know nothing. The people don't remember nothing. The people are being recycled technology, science, medicine, stuff that was already here, that was already known, and they just giving it to us a little by little. And that's just a certain thing that you gotta think about. You know what I mean? And this is only for the people who desire to know. This ain't for the deadheads. And if you're a deadhead, wake the hell up. But if you're not, and you're curious, then start getting in the know. So you won't have to so you won't have to believe. Because it's very easy to believe in things that are not true. And it may sound like a joke or I'm trying to be snide or whatever, but that's the truth. A lot of people that believe a lot of things. I used to believe that certain people was my friends, or I used to believe certain people loved me. I believed it, right? I didn't know it because, you know what I'm saying? Because if I'd have known that they didn't, why would I wouldn't have believed it. You understand what I'm saying? So like, being in the know is what the people got to be in. No, if you resonate with a lot of Most High God, or just God, if that's just more better for your understanding, then know God. Getting to know. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, it's about things about alignment and being in alignment. I've already for years and years been in alignment with a lot of Most High Creator. You know, and in the basic sense, you know what I mean. I was taught a long time ago about seeing the existence or seeing the reality, or of a law of God in everything that I lay my eyes on. Right. Also, definitely looking at everything that has been created being created with a purpose. You know what I'm saying? And I can just go on and on and on about that. But what I'm just saying is all of these different aspects play in the part when it comes down to people getting back in alignment. Because a lot of us can't get back in alignment, you know what I mean, with the Creator, because of the conflicts, the artificial conflicts that have been created. You know what I mean? A lot of people, when talk about things happening, and then they'll say, oh, it's race. Or, yeah, race is the biggest thing. You know what I mean? Or it's this or it's that. Okay. Well, anybody who's in alignment with the Creator ain't gonna be on no race stuff. Especially if they vibrating high and they know and they understand that it truly, isn't about the race thing. And the more you learn, and then the more you get into the know, and the more you know, and your knowledge is growing, then you start understanding that you have many different species of man and mankind. It's the truth. It just is. And everybody genetically is not the same. Yeah, we keep playing the game. If we keep playing the game of who's better and who's worse and all this different stuff, as opposed to all of the high level, high vibing beings getting together and changing this stuff, then we're going to continue to have a problem. Or people elevating, and then they start getting it's a lot of different distractions that you can get into to get you off an honest track. But I suggest that the learning aspect. But the thing that I want to talk about today was the post apocalyptic mindset, which is what we live in now. You know what I'm saying? And I always think about this. I think about this all the time, and I always be like, man, yeah, I want to talk about a certain thing. I used to watch one of my favorite movies, and I might watch it tonight. It's an old movie from the 70s, right? And it's called Omega Man. And basically, the gist of the story, there was a virus that affected the Earth, and it killed everybody off except for a certain amount of people weren't affected, but it was a certain amount of people that survived it, but were still living. But they were they got all messed up and sick. They eyes and their skin changed, all this different stuff, right? But to make it long story short, I always thought it was crazy when I saw these people, the people that was the bad guys in the story was these people that had mutated or whatever from the virus, right? But these people were so twisted in their belief system, and they were like worshiping the creator, or what they perceived to be the creator, right? So much so, but they were given a twisted perception of it and what they were supposed to be doing, right? And there's a certain part of the movie when they're like worshiping, what they perceived as God, and then they show like a rocket. I think that this was an Omega Man, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I think this was an Omega Man, right? And the rocket came up because Charlton Heston played in a couple like end of the world type movies, like Planet of the Apes and Omega Man and all that. But I'm certain it's Omega Man. But it's a certain part of the movie you'll see you see a rocket, and it's like a NASA rocket, and the people, they got on these like monk robes and all the hoods and all the different stuff, and they basically praying to the rocket, right? So they worshiping the rocket. So I always kept that in my mind, even way back when I saw this movie, and I always kept it in my mind how people, if they get separated from people who truly know and who truly know what's going on, and they're just ignorant, they can really be fed anything. They can really be fed any story, especially if it's some type of emotional or physical trauma that they had to deal with before they got to that point, where as though like they ignorant, and then they in a desperate situation, but then somebody come in with the book and they trying to put a fake, false perception of it on the people, so much so that now they worshiping the rocket, right? And this is the state that we in now, because the people walking around and got some real stuff with them, but they're not perceiving it correctly, because it's putting them out of alignment. And you got different stuff going on all over the world that I could speak about, but I don't need to speak about, because people they gonna know what I'm talking about. because if it has anything to do with conflict, then you know about the conflicts and whether they true or false. The conflicts, this the stuff that they putting in your mind's eye, in your mind, is these conflicts, right? Okay. Uh, and these conflicts is happening from people being out of alignment. Because why you got to kill these people or hurt these people when you could just simply share the land? So if you don't want to share the land, you don't want to share the food, you don't want to share the water, you don't want to do none of that stuff, you're out of alignment. You're out of alignment. So anything that you on that's putting you where so you gotta eliminate people and all that different stuff, hey, you're out of alignment. So whatever you doing, whatever you talking about, is supposed to put you in the direction of getting in alignment with the Creator and with creation. Because we all supposed to be getting along down here, moving and shaking without bothering nobody, and without no problems. There shouldn't be no problems. But we working our way towards it. But I'm just saying, we in a testing ground right now. That's what this earth is in truth. You know what I mean? It's a place where we being tested. And if you elevating yourself, then you're gonna get tested even more. And then you elevate after that, you're gonna get tested even more until the end. Right? And the more I learn about just different aspects of let's say religion, in other religions too. I learned that all of the people that achieved a high level in whatever they was doing or whatever, they really had certain characteristics. You know what I mean? Like whether it been abstinence, a certain level of what they call it, asceticism. In Islam is being zuhud, or to be zahid. So this asceticism, I think that's the word, the equal of it. Asceticism, this abstinence from things and just not being like super worldly is it's a big aspect, especially if you want to elevate and you want to and you want to get your mind's eye, you get working properly and correctly. You're going to have to step away from the junk of things and the junk of stuff, the overload. You know what I mean? It's just something you're gonna have to do, or you always going probably you're always gonna remain in the dark. This is the truth. You know what I'm saying? And we got a job to do. Out here, anybody who's talking about things similar to what I'm talking about, we just got to keep doing it day in and day out. We got to first for ourselves, we got to be right within our own selves and how we dealing out here, and we got to do it consistently, and we got to be about it, and that's really what it is. Because I know I was having every time I have a thought about something, I have thoughts about stuff. Like even if I have thought about being strong about something, and Allah the Most High, the Creator, send me something that's going to test me with test me with what I'm thinking about. You know what I'm saying? What I was thinking about, even if I, about being patient or dealing with an ignorant individual. You know what I mean? All this different stuff. You know what I mean? It always like happen, and it'd be like, but see, that's the thing. When you get in alignment, now, I'm not saying like I'm like super, but I know that I'm seeing stuff for what it is, right? But the whole thing is, once you get there a little bit or a lot, you don't get bent out of shape by stuff. You know what I mean? And we want everyone to be like that, or to have a certain level of that. to be able to control themselves, to be able to control situations and control their energy. Not don't just protect your energy, control your energy. You know what I mean? And it's an everyday thing. You got to work at it. You got to work at protecting and controlling your energy. Is watching what you put your energy and your focus into. You know, like and just know, the more you learn and the more you put into yourself, that's from the real good, and from the truthful information, just the higher your level of resolve and stuff like that is just going to be. It ain't rocket science. You know what I mean? It ain't rocket science, and it ain't never going to become a thing where it's like you get tired of hearing certain things. For people who truly want to hear this type of stuff, it only gonna get that way for people who think that whatever it is that they doing is gonna happen like super fast for them. You know, like having like something just gonna happen. Like, no, you think, first of all, these animals and these birds and all this different stuff flying around and running around, they mad super conscious. Do you dig it? They ain't gotta work on nothing. They ain't gotta read no books. They ain't gotta do none of that stuff. You know what I'm saying? You be watching the Wild Kingdom, you watching them hyenas and them lions and all that stuff, and rhinos and elephants and all that stuff. Man, they in alignment. They in alignment with the Creator. They ain't got to do nothing. They ain't got to study. They ain't got to do nothing. They know what time it is now, right now, at this instant. We the ones that don't. That's just off. You know what I'm saying? We the ones that's off. That's why, like, it was a time when I used to feel. I still feel bad sometimes. Sometimes it depends. Like when I see, lions killing stuff and all that, I get, I'll be like, damn. But sometimes I want them to. Sometimes I want them to get them away. Sometimes I'll be like, hey, the lion got to eat. But then or then other times I just be like, hey, they got a contract going on. It's a contract with them animals. So anyway, I mean, they contracted to do what they doing. The wolf eating the deer and the deer eating the wolf and all that. So that's not the deer eating the wolf, but you know what I'm saying. Like, they there for each other. You understand? And it's all in alignment. It's no malice. The wolf ain't doing what he doing because he want to get rich, or he want to take over the land. You know what I mean? Whatever. He doing what he doing because that's what he been guided to do by Allah, the Most High Creator, or whatever you perceive the Creator to be. And most of the belief systems believe in the same Creator God. It may be different names and all of that, kind of thing, but it's the same. It's the same thing. I was really what I was watching. I was watching some stuff. It had something to do with the Indian culture and the Indian religions and stuff like that. I've been just looking at different stuff like that because I've always been interested in it, and I've always been I've always been interested in in the so-called Egypt stuff. I always had the interest. I always was interested in it from even when I was young. But when they was breaking down from what they perceive, and I ain't saying like they. I'm just saying what they perceive. Let's say when you're talking about Jesus, because they they believe in Jesus, you know what I mean, and all that. But then they start talking about, okay, you got Krishna and Vishnu reincarnating as Krishna and all that. All that stuff. These people telling the same story. It's the same story going on in different places of the earth. The same way you can go in Mexico and in the culture in Mexico, the real ancient culture, with the Quetzalcoatl, and all of that stuff. It's all the same. Being Jesus and the connection to Moses and the people leaving one place, the people left one place to go to another, and it's the same as the Bible. It's the same as the Bible. It is the Bible story. It's the same. It's the same daggone story. But you have the same thing going on in other places. Now, I don't want to go this deep because they're gonna be like, "Yo, dude," I'm just saying. That's why I say in one of my videos, Blessings and Miracles Association, peace, peace, peace. And what I'm saying is, one time I mentioned that, okay, Allah the Most High Creator, whatever you choose to call it, you know what I'm saying, call the Creator, communicates with all the people in the way that they understand, and in their language. Shalom, shalom. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? So he communicating with people in Australia the same way he communicating with people in Mozambique. He talking to people in Mozambique the same way he talking to people in what they call Peking, China. You know what I'm saying? He communicating with people in Peking, China the same way he communicating with people in Texas. It's the same thing, right? That's if if you really truly get it without playing the word plays, because they didn't trick these words out. They didn't trick these words out so much that even when you say certain things, you know what I mean, you start talking about under, inner, and overstanding. People start, I'm telling you, they trick these words out, and then people, they be adverse to it. They don't want to hear it because they figure you getting on a certain tip. But yeah, it's good. It's good to understand and overstand. But whatever, you got to get it right. Okay. And that's easy for the Most High Creator to do that, to communicate with any and everybody in the religion or the way that they can, that they can receive it. You know what I mean? And for us to think that he, she, it could not do that, then we are not in the right state of mind about the power of the intellect that put all of this together. You know what I'm saying? So, and it ain't happened by chance. It didn't. Nothing that you see with your eyes is for nothing. It ain't happened by chance. It's what they call intelligent design. You know what I mean? It has intelligent design. That's what I'm saying. It having a reason. So the more you increase yourself in knowledge, and you ponder and you sit and you thinking about things, the more you're going to get in alignment with everything and everybody else. And the less you're going to be talking about what other people doing and not doing. You know what I mean? Because you'll be too busy worrying about yourself, trying to figure out what the heck you're supposed to be doing in reality, as opposed to, talking about do's and don'ts. Do's and don'ts inside of whatever dogma, religion, whatever that you following. You know what I'm saying? So I advise myself and anybody want to listen, just take it one day at a time and try to learn something new every day. Don't sit around thinking it's going to come to you, or the only way you're going to get it is for you to get it. You ain't going to be able to, get it without, getting into something, being curious about things, and really kind of really caring about yourself. You know what I mean? Because a lot of us, we've been trained for years and years and years to not care about our own self. You know what I mean? This is why we ain't never care about, they made us adverse to knowing history because of how they, they told us a lot of negative stuff about our origins. And guess what? Like I said, it wasn't true. You know what I mean? The history, you know, whether it be the history of so-called black people, the history of so-called white people, all that, the history, it ain't true. It ain't true in the mainstream. So you know what I mean? That's why a lot of people, you make it's all shameful. All the false stuff is shameful because if you got anything good in you, meaning like okay, the melanated people, it's shameful to be put in your head that you know what I mean that your people, your ancestors, like allowed certain things to happen or had all of that, right? Even there's no shame in being like let's say conquered. Some people were conquered and all the different stuff. Uh, the same way, and if you're a so-called white person, if you have anything good with you, then of course it will be shameful. It would be shameful to you would feel shame to know that you know your ancestors you know did this type of stuff to people, blah 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 blah, right? But if it's all not true, or a great portion of it is not true, then the only way that you're gonna know what is the truth is for you to learn. Because some people, a lot of people, even on the so-called conscious tip, is still stuck on the mainstream narrative. They just not accepting one side of it. You know what I'm saying? They just not accepting one side of it. Because a lot of the stuff that went down, it went down with everybody. Like everybody was you had people, especially when it comes down to servitude. You know what I mean? There was melanated people and pale skinned people, you know, who was under servitude, point blank period. You know what I mean? And also, like I noticed in my journey that they always try to like if you notice, okay, I'm gonna just say because I am a Moor, right? Okay, but I noticed that they always try to put bad stuff on the Moors, right? I'm gonna make another example too. All this bad, you always put all the bad stuff on the Moors, right? The Moors did this, Moors did that, the Moors selling people as slaves and all this different stuff. The same way, yeah, okay, the Mayans and the Aztecs, you know, they was down there doing human sacrifice and all this different stuff, blah 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 blah. This and the third, boom. Go back. Let's backtrack to like what I started, but we living in a post-apocalyptic world, okay? And like I said, the Omega Man, when the people was tripping, worshiping the rocket, right? They was on some Bible stuff, but they worshiping the rocket, the NASA rocket, and the end of the world thing, right? Okay, so just imagine if you walk in and you find a whole city and all the people gone, and you basically absorb a people's culture. You may be able to the translate or read some of their literature and things of this nature, but you don't understand it because you didn't really have them to teach it to you. So you start perceiving their stuff based on your ignorant interpretation of it, right? Thus going into like what we have now is misinterpretation of multiple different ways of life that really it wasn't even like that back in the day. It wasn't. It just wasn't. Just you know what I'm just saying. Or, you know, okay, the Moors did this, the Moors did all this bad stuff. But the Moors came with high science, high culture, high medicine and all this different stuff, but they was the ones selling all these slaves and doing all this stuff, bad stuff to people. You know what I'm saying? But the Moors taught people how to wash and to use soap and all this different stuff, right? Okay, another brother said one thing on the zone. He said, "Well, if the Moors was so bad, right? And they was, let's say, the Columbus story, and the Moors gave them the directions to get over here and all the different stuff, right? Okay, if the Moors was so much of this, that, and the third, why the Moors ain't come over here before 1492 and take over and wreak havoc and do what we say has been done?" What we know has been done here. Why the Moors ain't do it before that? Why? Moors has fleets. Boats, all the Moors is already here, right? But I'm just saying, if somebody hijack an identity and a culture, so now and start doing evil stuff, and you don't have no knowledge, or you don't have no knowledge of true history, then you think that even, hey, I'm gonna tell you something that might blow a lot of other people's minds out. Even, okay, the colonists, the original colonists. A lot of people don't even know the original colonists was melanated people. That whole identity has been hijacked also. It just has. That whole identity has been hijacked and absorbed. The names, the culture, everything. So much so, like when you open a book and you read something about somebody that was living back in 1752, you in your mind, you thinking based on Hollywood television that it's a certain certain looking people, and it's not them. It's not. That thing, all that thing, that thing was hijacked. That culture, that identity was hijacked too. You know what I'm saying? And guess what? They created conflict. And whether you come with the Bible stuff or any other stuff. Okay, so picture this. Most of us over here is let's say we have mixtures. We are mixtures of certain stuff anyway. Because I have German ancestry, right? But I'm just saying, a lot of us have grandfathers that may have came from Europe, right? Back then, this is when you know the truth. I ain't talking about the fallacies and the foolishness that people talking about that they don't know nothing. Most of us got, let's say, a grandfather that came from Europe and came over here and married an American. I'm just using that terminology, and married an American wife, right? That was here. Now, I'm just saying, just being truthful. Now, if we on the Indian thing and like Hollywood and Davy Crockett, man, if you don't know, even these people was more so. They just whited them out in Hollywood. That's the truth. But I'm just saying, if you don't think these people, these people, before they took over and rewrote history, you got to understand it was always commerce and business and mixing between the people. So I'm just saying, this stuff, man, people been talking about this stuff for years online. People been talking about this and teaching, and it's mad receipts out here on this stuff that I'm talking. So much so that I don't even feel funny or nothing. Like I got to super prove nothing to call a book out. It's because, man, that's old news, man. People been knew that. People been knew the stuff that I'm talking about now. But what I'm just saying is just for the layman, for the very common man, woman, and stuff who just ain't got a lot of books or just really getting into like some real stuff, right? Okay, if people it come over here, how do you think that it was so easy for these people to come over here and just marry into the families and marry into these American bloodlines and stuff like that? You know why? Because the truth be told, a lot of these situations, people was returning back over here to their family. Their family been here for hundreds of years, or their family is originally from here. And they might have just went into Europa, you know what I mean, or what they call in Africa, you know what I'm saying, and they was always related. Just like you really see, I don't argue about that African stuff because I'm not an African. But what I'm just saying is, a lot of them African people over there, and this is another thing that a lot of people don't know. A lot of those African people over there, especially on the edge, man, a lot of them, I don't care where they at. A lot of them people, I ain't saying all of them, a lot of them people, they ain't got ancestry that come from here. Believe that. That's something that, you know, it gets way down the line. You know what I mean? I guess, you know, but hey, it's all in the game. You know what I'm saying? But guess what? How about this? Once we get past calling ourselves something that we not, perceiving and knowing the creator as something that it's not, leaving the conflict and the strife, learning true history, cleaning up our lives and our personal lives, and multiple other things. You know what's going to happen? You begin to align, and you begin to align with others who are in alignment also. So then we can get past like talking about all of that, like who's who and what's what and all that, because we know that we'll know, right? We'll know that the earth was made for us, and it was made for us to be able to thrive and to prosper, not to be in a state of conflict all the time about everything, not even a little bit, because there has been peace on earth. And if you want to refer back to the religious books on that, the religious books will talk about that in detail. We know the stories, man. We ain't got to go back and what we know, right? So, but I'm telling you, more recent than you think, there has been peace on earth. I mean, you got so much different stuff out here on different things. You know what I mean? Even with the age of you gotta. I'm gonna call it a theory because I haven't gotten into it enough but I have gotten to it enough to be like, yo, like the age of Christ, based on the perception of the people who deal with the reality from that perspective, has already happened. Has already happened, and we living in the age of when the devil has been released on the earth and all of that, right? So basically, they saying like Jesus already came and went, and all that, right? I'm just saying from that perspective. I'm not saying yes, no, whatever. I'm just saying all of these different stories have happened, and they have how can I say? See, because when you're dealing with when you're dealing with people, I'm just saying, I'm speaking, and I'm just speaking, right? I'm just talking, but I'm trying to activate people's minds. You know, when you're dealing with perspectives, because the true reality is, you know, what's going on in your mind. That may sound crazy and a little wacky, but that's when you get into the whole dimensional thing, and us being in a multiple dimensional, a multi-dimensional reality. You know, all of the different stuff. So a lot of stuff, if we know and understand that it's a multi-dimensional reality, then we know that multiple dimensions of the same thing going on at the same time, right? And that, let's say, even the time being a construct. Okay, time being a construct. So if time being is a construct and it's not real and everything is now, so that means what we perceive, like let's say what we perceive as the past is really now, and what we perceive as the future is really now. Okay, so if that's a fact, then that means that 1776 is now, 1492 is now. Whatever. Okay, 1938 is now. I'm just saying, using these dates. 1945 is now. It's happening right now, simultaneously, right? In multiple, because that's a dimension. 1968, 1941, 1928. 1910. These are different dimensions going on simultaneously. But I'm just saying that's like something else to think about. But just, when your mind is being played with on so many different levels, it's sometimes you may approach it from, it's like, you might, I could be like give a history lesson, and it sounds like it's coming from a racial perspective. uh you know I don't know if I get moved one way or the other. I'm just saying all of these different things is, if you don't have, see, that's why, but what I'm saying is, the more you learn, the more you ain't gonna be able to get bent out of shape by stuff. You know what I'm saying? Because you got people in here, only thing every day, the only thing they talking about is one thing, government, money, race, sex, um, sports, um, religion, uh, war, all this different stuff. When you really understand and know what's going on, and you know where your mind is supposed to be at, and you really built up in a certain kind of way, you know that you can turn that stuff off and on. For real, you can just turn it on and off and on. You know what I mean? Because just because if we live in, not if we living in a multi-dimensional reality, just because something is going on over there with them, don't mean that that's going down here. But but if you think hard enough about certain things, it'll happen. It'll happen where you at. But that's just, and we all trying to get a handle on reality. We all trying to, what reality truly is, especially after coming into uh coming into knowledge about, well, just knowing certain things and knowing more. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of this stuff can really, I don't want to use the word stress, but it can take you to a place where, you can become even, well, not more lost, but you could just really get lost in the sauce. That's why I just deal with one or two things at a time. I got a lot of stuff that I like I said, I think I spoke on this before. Like I haven't gotten into it um as much as I want to, but I got to give myself time to the to digest the stuff that I already took in. Because I'm adding on. I didn't added on a lot of stuff to my, to my repertoire. So I gotta, if I add on too much, you know what I'm saying, it can become too heavy. So you got, what's the word? Pace yourself, but have zeal when you're doing it, though. You know what I mean? Pace yourself, but you know, go at a good rate with it. But don't do too much, because it might hurt you more. It might harm you more than it help you. You know what I'm saying? But I don't know. Yeah, that's all I want to talk about today. Yeah, but yeah, get into it. Definitely get into it. You can connect some dots with, I'm telling you, with the mud flood thing. I'm telling you, you can really connect the dots, and then you'll see, not because listen, you got a lot of people, you're gonna see that people wasn't even when you go back and you thinking people in the 1400s, 1500s, 1600s, people was you or not even go back to 12, 1300. You think people was running around living in huts and all of that? No, that wasn't happening. That's what they wrote in. They wrote that in. Stuff was advanced, more advanced than it is now back then. And I know that may sound a little crazy, but that is actually the truth. This is actually that's the truth. And I don't know. We ain't gonna do it in one day, right? But we could. It's possible. But if we don't, learn, learn, get up tomorrow and do the same thing. Try to learn something new, and you know, it's gonna work out. It's gonna work out for everybody. Trust and believe it. You know what I mean? So I'll see y'all soon. Well, yeah, I'm tripping. Yeah, I'll dial back in. Yeah, hopefully I see y'all. I'll dial back in soon. But think about it. Peace.